I started out this week by ripping a bunch of 2x4s so I could install ribs on the prison bus. The ribs also needed various notches cut out of them, so they would rest on the old bus seat rails and fit over the runs of wire conduit. So what are these ribs all about? I wanted to put them in because they'll allow me to put up some wallboard on the lower half of each long side of the bus. And then I also have a plan to affix a little ledge or plate rail on top of the ribs and along each side. I went with a little under 16-inch centers when spacing the ribs to make them line up with the edges and the centers of the windows. I think that'll look better in the end if I end up using visible fasteners to hold down that plate rail. And with one side done, I cut and prepped the second set of ribs. Now with the ribs all in place, I guess I could have put in that wallboard and plate rail ledge next, but I wanted to build out some of the cabinetry before that so that the wallboard would ultimately come in nice and flush with the edges of the cabinets. In terms of cabinets, I wanted to start with a unit up front that will cover my circuit box, converter, fuse box, and ground wires. Before building the cabinet, I put a few finishing touches on that panel just because it would be easy to reach it now than later. I fastened the 12-volt wires to the board and then replaced the basic 12-volt fuse box that I had thought I was going to use with one that I have a lot more confidence in. It was tempting to try to build the cabinet in the shop, moving it into the bus when it was all done, but with so many irregularities and funky things going on in the bus, I opted to build the unit in place, screwing it both to the wall and the floor as I went. With the bus a-rockin', you don't want the cabinets to go flying. To avoid any nails or screws being visible on the top, I glued it down and held it in place with some 45-pound weights. That is not one of Melissa's favorite bath mats, by the way. I would never do that. So for now, that's as far as I'm going to go with this power cabinet. I'm just waiting for the top to glue together, and I'm going to wood epoxy just a little few of these holes, and other than that I just need to seal the whole thing and build a couple of doors. Okay, now right after saying that I was going to use wood epoxy to fill in those little gaps and holes, I opted to borrow a page from Ian Robinson's playbook and mix up some sawdust and wood glue to fill in those voids on the edges of the plywood. If you haven't seen Ian's videos, they're really awesome. He's doing a great job in his bus, and thanks Ian for the idea about the sawdust and glue. This ended up leaving a nice roughish look at first, but when I sanded it a few days later, when I finally had time to get back in the bus, it ended up looking really great. I love the look of those doubled up plywood edges, so I was glad I went with plywood for the top of this counter that's right inside the front door. In my next video, I'm going to be moving back on the bus to work on the kitchen area. That cabinet's just a little bit more involved, so I think it's going to take an entire video or most of a video just to cover it. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, and comments are always appreciated.